This is Matrix Lord 212, and what I want to talk about today is the comic book heroes that we know and love since we were a child. For me, the Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, was always my favorite superhero ever since I was a little kid. And you know what? As the years pass on, we have new people that take over the comic book, and they turn the character into someone he is not, someone that is very foreign to us, where we don't even recognize that character anymore. It used to be based on principles. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and it was always with great power comes with great responsibility. There was a whole bunch of rules that had to do with the book, and somewhere along the lines the translation was lost. Now, this is nothing against any current writers and stuff that are working on the Spider-Man books, but for me, the negativity and the negative outweigh the positive. And the stuff that was done to Peter Parker's character has been so overwhelmingly negative that the book is just not the same anymore. I mean, we don't even have Peter Parker alive anymore. Peter Parker had died at the hands of Doc Ock. Doc Ock had switched bodies with Peter Parker, and we had a glimmer of hope that Peter Parker will return. And now he's gone, and you have a villain that's a mass murderer that's inside the body of Spider-Man. Now, this is not a role model for any children. Kids can't even read comics anymore because the comics have become more for adults. I mean, when someone says, hey, the superior Spider-Man is for children, they are lying, because that is supposed to be for adults. There is nothing for children anymore to do with the comic book characters. Maybe the movies, but that's it. And if you want, like my kids, to read about someone killing people and breaking their bones and being a mass murderer themselves, then obviously you don't get the superior Spider-Man, because that's what it's all about. And you know what? This goes to show what happens when someone's given power. And they're given the keys to the kingdom, and then they have fun with it. And I'm just saying that, maybe we would have thought of what happened if Spider-Man breaks someone's back, or what happens if Spider-Man kills somebody. But you would never be allowed, back in the day, to do something like this in the comics. You would never be allowed to change the dynamic of the hero where he would not be recognizable. You would never be allowed to change him so much that he's not Spider-Man anymore. Okay, and Spider-Man doesn't kill people. Spider-Man is not Dr. Octopus. Okay, and to make it like that villain who got beat 99 times, he wins one battle and he's superior in every way to Peter Parker is absolutely absurd. I understand that some people in their personal lives, they're depressed, they're angry at the world, and what they do is they put it in the comics. And I'm not saying that this is just one person. I'm saying overall for the past 10 years with Spider-Man books, there's been a lot of hatred thrown into the comic that you really have to look at, okay? No respect for his marriage to Mary Jane, that he spin on it to make a deal with Mephisto to save Aunt May's life and basically erase 21 years of marriage. Now, as the hero, you just erased the Marvel Universe. You just altered the entire Marvel Universe because of ego and because you felt you could, just to save one woman's life. And they really destroyed the Marvel Universe in a way. Marvel Universe is not the same that it used to be, all because of that one event, okay? They should have never had it where Peter Parker revealed his identity to the world, because that was just about selling books, not about long-term change, like standing changes. I mean, they ruined that. So, I'm getting tired of holding this phone. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, has changed so much. They even ruined the character Gwen Stacy, making it that she cheated on Peter Parker, she had sexual relations with Norman Osborn, had children with him while she's still going out with Peter Parker, and that's why the Norman Osborn threw over the bridge. That's absurd. And Mary Jane knew about it, which goes to show that the character became selfish and dishonest to Peter Parker, and how could you be with anybody like that? And Peter Parker became like an ego where he felt he's smarter than Reed Richards, coming up with all these inventions and stuff like that. And they, in an attempt to make the character be younger, they made him older, because now he's teaching classes like a professor and all this stuff, and it's just about nonsense. And then they're trying to evolve Peter Parker and make him work at labs and stuff like that. That's not Spider-Man, okay? I don't believe it. The Daily Bugle, they turned into the DB. Where I do agree with the J. Jonah Jameson being the mayor, that's pretty awesome. I don't agree with what's going on with the Daily Bugle. I don't agree with half the stuff that's going on in Spider-Man comics. And if I was writing it right now, I'd have Mephisto interfere with Doc Ock and really mess with him because he's screwing up whatever deal that was made. Now, obviously, Mephisto has something to gain from the deal that's made, and he will claim it when he can. But with Peter Parker out of the way, there's no way that that deal could stand. So there was something that Mary Jane whispered in Mephisto's ear. But I just imagine if Mephisto just started messing with Dr. Octopus just to get Peter Parker back. We need to have an overwhelming storyline that's going to be connected with Mephisto, bring everything back into play, and restore the Marvel Universe the way it was before. I would just bring Doc Ock from the past and have him mess with his future self, and maybe the classic Doc Ock win. And to now put the Black Cat into it, that pisses me off. Because, Felicia Hardy, they make it like they know who Felicia Hardy is and how she interacts with Spider-Man. She fell in love with Spider-Man, and then afterwards she was in love with Peter Parker, so that's baloney. So, because if she wasn't with Peter Parker, she wouldn't have been, like, in his life with Mary Jane and going out with Flash Thompson and all that stuff. So, they really need to fix the Spider-Man comics, and I'm hoping that happens soon, alright? So, they really need to go back to basics. Cyclops doesn't kill Professor X, and all this nonsense like Tony Stark being a villain, messing with Spider-Man and Captain America, that's nonsense. Alright, take care, bye for now.